That's right. Moist Critical made a big mistake. Charlie made a big mistake, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. Now, he's known as YouTuber Jesus. He posts a bunch of commentary videos, and Charlie's also a good friend of mine. But I'm not going to let this one slide. And it has nothing to do with what you might be thinking about. Maybe you're thinking about the iDub situation that Charlie was in a few days ago. Nothing to do with that. This is way more serious. It all started a couple of months ago when I made a video called "This YouTuber Got Scammed Out of $250,000. And that video was about how I joined forces with Charlie to join his esports team, Moist Esports. And we made an offshoot of his esports team called the Moist Moguls. That was the basic gist. I join on. We have our own esports team that we make together that is a part of the parent company, Moist Esports. And I'm allowed to do whatever I want with that esports team with Charlie's blessing. But that's the key, with Charlie's blessing. And one of the first things that I wanted to do was make my own Valorant team. Now, Charlie was a little bit on the fence about this. I don't think he played the game that much at the time. And also, it's very, very expensive. And if you don't know, Moist Esports loses a lot of money, as do all esports companies, which is why they're all crumbling around us. So maybe somewhat smartly, he was hesitant to sign up for a $500,000 a year cost, which is about the price of a Valorant team. But I pushed him, and I pushed him, and I pushed him. And finally, after enough kvetching, he buckled, and we got our own Valorant team, the Moist Moguls. Now, you might be wondering, Ludwig, great story, but where's the big mistake that he made? Not listening to me sooner. Because if you guys haven't kept up, the Moist Moguls Valorant team might be the best esports team of all time. Let me just show you a couple of stats to update you, because it's been a couple of months, where the Moist Moguls are at. And they are at the top, baby. We just finished the second split of the Challenger Series. Think of it like the minor leagues. And the whole goal of the minor leagues is to upgrade to the major leagues, where you get the big boy viewership and the big boy money. And our team, the Moist Moguls, went 5-0 in the last split. We did not lose a single game, something that has never been done in the North American Challengers League before. Not only that, we won handedly. This plus 62 is by how many rounds we won. Basically, we stomped everybody's ass. Need further proof? Here's a list of the top 10 players through the second split. This is based off an amalgamation of kills, first bloods, how many deaths you get, basically your impact in every single game. We have a Moist Moguls player fly at the top, and then 4 total players in the top 10. Fly, a Brock, Thief, a Proto. Not to mention Sim, our duelist, who is easily deserving of the #1 spot in terms of their ability to swag out and shoot people's heads, but he wasn't even on the top 10. He might be one of our best players. He might be our best player. That's just how dominant the Moist Moguls have been. But it's not just in-game. It's also in viewership. When we look at tournament viewership across the entirety of the world for this minor league series, Japan is at #1 because Crazy Raccoons is one of the most popular Japanese esports teams, and they're in the minor leagues, so they got 160K. But not too far behind at #2 is the Moist Moguls with our match against FaZe Clan. That is the #2. We are getting 145,000 peak viewers for a minor league game. We're oftentimes getting more viewers than some of the pro-franchised major league teams are getting. That's just how popular the Moist Moguls and also influencer-based teams are as a whole. The same thing we've seen with Disguised, and also even franchise teams that are player-owned, like Koi, who's owned by eBuy, or Carmine Corp, who I think is in part owned by Kameto, a French streamer. All these influencer teams are kind of the new wave of esports. It's invigorating a new fan base that has somebody to root for more consistently. Because I think in the past, a lot of people would root for esports teams based off the players, but the players swap every other day. There's not a lot of longevity in esports. Players don't stick to one team for their entire career, except for Smash. You know, for League or Valorant or CS or anything like that, there's a lot of swapping going on, so it's harder to be a fan of one team. And it's also harder to be a fan of one team because sometimes they're just dog shit forever. So being a fan of a person like me or Charlie means that your team will be consistent throughout the entirety of the esports lifespan. So I think that's been a huge bump. And now the question you guys all might be wondering is, how much money has this all made? We've been getting amazing viewership. Our team has been crushing, and we've spent $500,000 for the team. So what's the return? It's not good. It's not good yet. We haven't done any sponsored co-streams, so the money that I make co-streaming is pretty good, but it wouldn't be too different if I were just streaming myself playing Mario Party. However, we do have a few plans in the future, and this might be a bit of a leak, but I wanted to get your guys' opinions because honestly, you're the reason I will make money because it'll be your viewership during sponsored events or perhaps your direct dollars if you buy merch. So we're thinking about making a little bit of merch and selling it. Now, I don't want that like classic polyester, smelly ass jersey shit. So I've been thinking more like rugby style, baseball style clothing. This is a full leak and I might get yelled at for this, but I wanted to leak it because I think this is a really fucking dope design, but maybe I'm wrong on that. So that's just one of the leaks of the many merch items that we're thinking about selling. And if you like it, then maybe we'll sell it. And then maybe that's how we'll be able to make a small return. Or maybe I just throw this fucker on a hat and call it a day because everybody likes Mogi. If you don't know, this is the new mascot for the Moist Moguls. Which brings me to one of the larger announcements that I need to make today, which is that we need to stop calling the team the Moist Moguls. Now, they're still the Moist Moguls on paper, but you don't call it the Moist Moguls. It's messy. And I feel like people, when they say it, say Moist Moguls a lot, or they do Moguls or Moguls or just Moguls. From now on, it's just Moist. You can just say Moist, and if you're referring to the team, you call them MXM, which is the abbreviation for Moist Moguls, but there's no reason to say out the whole thing. Like TSM, you don't say Team Solo Mid, you say TSM. Moist Moguls, you don't need to say Moist Moguls, you can just say MXM. I think that's a little bit cleaner, and honestly, commentators would do a little better at reading it. Now, where are we now? Where does the Moist Moguls go from here? They're undefeated. What does that mean for Valorant? If you don't really follow the scene, I'm going to give you a short little debrief just to update you guys like I like to do every few months. We have one final tournament to go through. That is how it ends for the North American Challengers League, is the final playoffs. Now, we were seeded 5th based off our performance through the first split, the second split, and the midseason faceoff. And so because of that, we were seeded 3rd. Because of that, we play against TSM. And that match will be June 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific. Remember that. Burn that into your mind. June 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific. I'll be live. I'll be with the whole team in Texas. We're doing a boot camp. We're all going to be hanging out, and we're going to co-stream it. And the way it works is this double elimination tournament with 8 total teams will produce 2 winners. All right. The other 6, they'll get to be in the minor leagues next year, but 2 people have a chance of making it to the major leagues. There's a big issue with Valorant in that it doesn't have any relegation, which basically means all the major league teams are guaranteed to be major leagues no matter how poorly they perform. So there's only one team that gets to become a major league team from the minors. But it's not just a North American team that has that opportunity. It's a North American team or a Latin American team or a Brazilian team, which they do differentiate in esports. So we have to not only win the playoffs, get top 2 in this playoff bracket. If we do that, then you have the opportunity to go to another tournament that's going to be in Brazil against 2 Brazilian teams and then 2 Latin American teams. And then all of those teams will go together and it will produce one winner that will end up being a major league team. Confused? Yeah, because Riot fucked us. The Cabal came for us. They're coming for our necks. They don't want a goddamn influencer-based team in the major leagues. I get it, but the Moist Moguls are proven that we have the full capability of doing so. And before I get ahead of myself, maybe those are our goals, but that's not everything this team is. This team is 5 amazing individuals, 1 dope coach, and 1 genius analyst who are all working as hard as they can to put on a show for the viewers and also hopefully remember this in 10 years as a good part of their life. Whether or not you achieve goals, I think it's dope that we've created a team that trusts each other enough to perform at the level they're performing at. And hopefully, I mean, these are kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They look back on being a part of the Moist Moguls fondly, and it was a good part of their life because that's more important than necessarily winning. It's impacting people for the rest of their days. Anyway, that's all. I just wanted to update you guys on the Moist Moguls, and I'll go back to talking about YouTuber drama next time. Kind of baited you with this one. It was kind of clickbait, but you should have listened to me earlier. I mean, we had this team earlier. God damn, I'd have easy viewership, just W's left and right. All right, I'm out. See you later. Have a good one. Goodbye, guys.